So my beginning bit about retail media has just been done. Retail media is going to be massive, and me and Sam, well, it is massive, and me and Sam are here to kind of have a chat, kind of talk about what's going on, where we think it's going, and actually from a more practical point of view, because everyone says big numbers, they say big things, but actually, in reality, how does it work, what does it do? We should probably introduce ourselves. So I'm Lucy, I work for InfoSum, who are a data clean room, who are currently, I would say, powering retail media in the UK. Big claim, but I think it's true. We work with brands like Boots, we work with dunnhumby, Tesco, we work with Nectar, we work with Sainsbury's, and a whole host of other retail partners. And I've got Sam with me today, and I won't try and introduce Sam, I think he can introduce himself.
Hi guys, so I'm Sam Toothill, I'm the Media Director at SMG. SMG is a parent company of 3 agencies: Capture, which looks after a range of FMCG and CPG brands, in essence helping them navigate the retail media space, and we've been doing that for about 15 years. And then there's Threefold, which creates partnerships with retailers, so in essence they help retailers actually set up their media networks and then actually deliver the operations and all the measurement. And then the final one's Lobster, and that is in essence an insights agency which helps within that retail media space, and all of those kind of come together, and essential within that is SMG, and me and my team in the media division, we look after all the operations, all the third-party media buying, and anything that we can do from a consultancy perspective to help retail media networks actually accelerate and advise clients.
Awesome. So Sam, we talked a bit about some of the clients that InfoSum look after in the retail media space. Obviously that's how we know each other. You know, I know Boots is a key client for you. It'd be great to hear about some of the clients that you guys work with.
Yeah, so I would say we have a huge range of clients, mainly because we sit on both the demand side and the supply side. So when I say that, I mean Capture sits on the demand side, so we've been helping the likes of General Mills, Kellogg's, Weetabix, a huge kind of whole host of FMCG brands actually navigate the retail media space, and it's been around for much longer than necessarily people think it has. It obviously has been an opportunity for brands to actually activate in for the last kind of 20 years plus that. So we've been really in that space when it wasn't necessarily as sexy as it is now. And so Capture's got a significant number of kind of rostered clients. Threefold, obviously working with a huge range of actual retailers, can touch up to 500 plus clients in a year. The likes of Boots and Morrison's, which we've established, so Boots Media Group and Morrison's Media Group, they can be well above 1,000 clients in a year. So we interact with all of those guys.
So you've got a lot of clients.
Yeah, huge.
So when they turn up and they say, I want to enter the retail media space, I want to kind of start getting involved, what are the initial considerations when we're talking about a retail media brief specifically?
Yeah, I think the important thing to remember is at the start it's not significantly different from a normal media brief, right? I've worked in ATL agencies and in retail media networks, and fundamentally the things that we need to gather from clients about what they want to do, what KPIs they want to deliver, are fundamentally the same. Now, I'm sure none of us have had the perfect brief, but if the perfect brief came along and we're talking specifically about retail media, what I would say is you've got to distill 2 key things, which is what's the customer's intent when they're in that conversion mindset, so when they're actually in store, in aisle, or whether they're online actually looking to convert on an e-com site, as well as what does the client actually want to get them to do. So if you have those 2 things in your mind, we can then bring out some of the specific actions that we want clients and customers to actually take. Now, there's a huge range of different things that they could do, whether that's share shift, they want to increase volume, they want return on investment. So we really have to understand and be clear about that. The other thing to consider as well is how you want to use online and offline. Obviously, InfoSum largely in the online space, but 80% of sales for retail still happen in bricks and mortar, so they still happen in the store. So you really have to think about how you're going to use some of these very advanced online channels to actually get someone to take an action in the physical real world. So you've got to balance those 2 things together. Yes, you might want to do lots of sponsored search and products, but most of your sales are going to come in store. So remember to keep that in the front of your mind when you deliver a brief.
It's really interesting you say that, Sam. So the reason that I ended up at InfoSum, I was actually a client. I worked at Nectar. I bought the InfoSum solution, and that was a big piece of what we had to look at was actually looking at the stuff in store versus that online, and actually being able to weigh that up with the Nectar card, with your club card. You can do that, but one of the difficulties I think people have is that measurement piece. Do you have kind of any thoughts around that? Because the different retailers seem to have different. You work with all the retailers, and everyone seems to measure it in a different way. How does a client kind of deal with that? Because is it like for like? No, not really.
Yeah. No, it's an old and it's a new world that we're kind of facing. We've obviously had retail media for a very long time. We actually set up Lobster and a proprietary platform called Planapps to do that. So to bring all of the insights and measurements that we were getting in that retail space, and then to bring them into one space and allow clients to kind of sift through them, understand the trends, and develop those out. But what fundamentally I'd say is measurement is the trickiest part of this whole kind of funnel. It's always going to be a challenge because we're coming from a new world where there's an established way of doing things in the digital space, and then that's not the same as doing it in an old world. And you've got two different types of people in that space as well, trade marketers, and you've also got above-the-line agencies and kind of traditional above-the-line marketers. So trying to bring all that together and get them to communicate and talk in the same language is obviously very difficult. We've been working heavily with the IAB and ISBA to try and get a consensus across the board. What I would fundamentally say in regards to measurement is it's never going to be 100% accurate. The real benefit of retail media is that you're getting that conversion metric, right? So now available is attribution on the things that you were never able to attribute before, because retailers are able to come and they're able to deliver you that those conversion impressions and that conversion data. And so people, when they see that, they think, this is fantastic, I can measure everything completely accurately. That's not possible yet, and I don't think it'll ever actually be possible in terms of 100% accuracy. So you have to come to this world, in terms of measurement, with an open mind that you're trying to get to 80% of what you know, and then you have to extrapolate that out and understand. Because when you're talking, say you're talking loyalty cards, not everybody, we've all got loyalty cards here, you probably don't scan them 100% of the time, but if I'm using that loyalty card data to go and target you online and for you to go in store to actually shop, if you don't use it that time, I don't get that attribution, and then we can't actually give you 100% understanding of what the actual delivery of that campaign was. So you have to take percentages, you have to extrapolate out, and you have to, as clients and agencies and retailers, agree that that's going to be a nice to have, is 100%.
And Sam, why is a clean room important in this ecosystem?
Yeah. So obviously we're using a lot of first-party data in the retail space, and we've been using it heavily. So my team worked very closely with the partnership between Threefold and Boots, and we've been using clean rooms for kind of over 18 months now in order to take that really valuable, rich first-party data that Boots have and have been collecting for a number of years, and then enable it across the full kind of media platform ecosystem. Now that can be quite difficult in traditional ways because there's many media platforms that don't want you to, or they don't want to pass their data back onto you. So it brings a challenge in terms of the measurement, but also activation. So clean rooms are a fantastic way in which to compliantly work with a range of different partners. So I'm thinking we just launched the ITV activation with BMG and ITV. So we now have the opportunity to use Boots first-party data, and you can go and activate your BVOD via that data. But also the likes of LiveRamp in terms of competitors in this space. And so we're using a range of different options to enable us to actually measure and activate.
Well, as the number one clean room in the UK, we can work alongside anybody, so that's absolutely fine. Right, we're gonna wrap up in a minute, but Sam, what would be your key piece of advice to brands to kind of maximise the value of retail media? And if you say use LiveRamp, I'm going to ask you to leave.
Yeah, use LiveRamp. No, I think fundamentally the reason we're using this data and this data is being offered out by retailers is because it gives you a better understanding of the behaviours of your customer and more understanding than you have probably as a marketer and a sole brand have ever had before. So yes, the activation's great. Yes, the measurement is very good because we can test the hypotheses that we actually put in place, but really drilling down into the insights that we get from retailers and trying to distill what you were looking at in terms of that customer behaviour, and then using that not only to inform your retail media, but using that across the full funnel. So being able to take those learnings, test in retail media, and then bring the kind of full ecosystem together is in essence the way to build success. That's hard because there's a legacy, but of not communicating between organisations and businesses. But if you can create a status quo where that's number one, then
you're
then
onto a winner. Awesome. So, InfoSum we've got a picnic table, T28. Come and ask any questions. We've also got a InfoSummit, which is sort of like this, but not nearly as big, on measurement on the 12th of July. So come and see us, come to register. The last one I presented at, the client actually told somebody to take the microphone away from me. So it should be fun. So it would be great to see you all there. And if you have any questions, please come and get in touch. Thank you.
Thanks, guys.